Hi, everyone. I'm Elena with Napa Book Mind. Thank you so much for joining us this very warm evening if you're here in California, and hopefully a lovely evening if you're not and elsewhere. I am so excited to introduce our author today, the author of Tending to the Sacred, Ashley River Brandt, a multidimensional artist, author, earth spirit medium, and teacher of feminine wisdom. Her creative work is a visual dedication to a path of liberation, pleasure, nurturance, and beauty. Through her art and teachings, her intention is to pave a path home to the sacred, assisting us all in returning to our creative nature and remembering the innate wisdom, magic, and love that lives within ourselves, each other, and all around. She'll be leading us through some wonderful stuff tonight. So thank you so much, Ashley. I'm going to mute myself and let you take it away.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much to Napa Book Mind for having me tonight. It's so good to see you all. Some of you I recognize, some of you I don't, but for those who don't know me, again, I'm Ashley River Brandt. I'm an artist, and I just came out with my first book, Tending to the Sacred. I'm really honored to be sharing some excerpts from the book, and we're going to be doing a really beautiful meditation focused on love this evening. We're really in a time collectively where we're needing to put a lot more focus and energy towards our hearts and towards just holding space for presence and holding space for what wants to flow through us. We're also, as we come out of this eclipse portal, we're moving through a pretty big collective, grief expression and ego release. And, just taking pauses to come back to the heart is really at the core of your healing work, at the core of your ritual work, at the core of your self-creation practice. So if anyone has the book and wants to read along, we're going to be starting in chapter 1, which is the 4 pillars. So I'm just going to be introducing the 4 pillars of ritual work, which are intention, space, love, and belief. And again, focusing on the love pillar tonight. And those of you who don't have the book yet, Tending to the Sacred is a book about ritual and using ritual as really the bridge to connect to the sacred. And the sacred really is just love. It's using ritual as a bridge to create a life that we desire, to create a life where we are connected to the earth, where we're connected to ourselves, where we're connected to the sacred, and we're following our dreams, we're listening to ourselves, we're connected to each other. And so ritual really is an art form that brings us closer to that. After I read, we're going to be going into a meditation. So if you want to just make sure you're cozy and you have some uninterrupted space, and maybe you have some tea next to you, a journal and a pen to write down anything that comes up for you. So I'm going to begin. Ritual work is our groundwork. It offers us a way to bring the spiritual into the physical and ground our souls into our bodies on this earth. The 4 pillars of ritual that are the foundation of ritual work are intention, space, love, and belief. These pillars are essential ingredients in creating your ritual practice. Without intention, your energy and ritual would lack focus. Without space, they would have no room to move. Without love, your energy and ritual would remain lifeless and easily dissolve. Without belief, you would have trouble connecting to what you are actually creating. When we gather these pillars together, magic happens. Our rituals come to life, energy transforms, healing takes place, and the sacred responds. At the deepest root of your practice is the energy of love. This is the fuel for all that you do in your sacred tending. There isn't a more beautiful human experience than exploring the depths of love. We are all expansive, beautiful beings of love, a love that cannot be found outside of ourselves, a love that never loses its way, a love unwavering in all of its divine devotion. We are created from love and are all here to return to its pure, loving essence. Commitment to our love is what carries us toward our inner desires and truth. Your ritual practice is the bridge that connects you to your love, guiding you to be in flow with life and its loving rhythms. Our hearts are our gifts, and their potential is beyond logical understanding. All spiritual work asks us to have an open heart and commit to softening and opening more and more as we grow. It is through this openness that we find the sacred within and bear witness to our infinite love. Life in all its chaos and struggle often makes us shut down and put up walls around our hearts to feel safe and in control. We are so afraid of rejection, of change, of being unworthy, that we become so good at hiding from love, forgetting that love is our key to freedom. We so easily close off and let fear, ego, and shadow run the show, creating false storylines and blocking the energy of love. This not only keeps us from receiving all the love that wishes to enter our lives, but also disconnects us from our own love and the power of our sacred hearts. Fear and love cannot coexist. Though emotion is the most powerful part of the human experience, it is also the most misunderstood and dismissed. Collectively, we have been conditioned for centuries to not fully express this holy power and to not be in tune with the expression of love from within. We so often close off any emoting, especially in public, because it is too much, too messy, or too hard to handle. We may even receive messages telling us that what we feel is crazy or that we are being hysterical. For thousands of years, hysteria was a disease invented by man to pathologize the natural waves of feminine emotion, creating even more conditioning and fear around our emotional expression. This discouraged generation after generation of humans to channel emotions in healthy ways and create blockages in receiving from our hearts. Doing this causes most of our physical, emotional, and mental imbalances, which we will explore in the next chapter. Even today, we live in a society with low emotional intelligence that values work over pleasure and is fueled by fear over love. And as a result, we are collectively, seriously, emotionally repressed. This keeps us from truly connecting to and receiving all the love that is available. Our greatest spiritual challenge in this life is to become open and embrace love. We must break open our hearts in order to feel the sacred. This is sacred tending at its deepest level. In order to open our hearts, we must learn to become receptive. Beyond emotion and love not being modeled, celebrated, and expressed in healthy ways in our society, far too many of us don't receive the love as a child from others that we need or don't know how to receive love from ourselves. This can be a challenging, though life-changing lesson to learn on our spiritual paths. Most of us are taught through societal and familiar programming that receiving is selfish or that it's not safe to receive. Deep within, we may feel that we are unworthy, undeserving, or not capable of receiving love, that we are unlovable. This may create patterns of codependency, avoiding love, and even depression. Receptivity to love requires a sacred pause and an intentional presence to our hearts. When was the last time that you really allowed yourself to be receptive of your emotions, to give them space and attention to be heard and felt without shame or control? When was the last time you paused to receive the beauty of nature in your heart? When was the last time you listened to and followed your heart, even though your mind was leading you elsewhere, clouding you with logic and reason? Or allowed yourself to truly receive love from another, even in the form of a loving compliment, not brushing it off, but feeling the compliment fully in your heart? We learn this lesson of receiving by moving towards the challenges that ask us to let go and surrender to love, and moving closer to those who love us, letting our walls down, being vulnerable, and by softening little by little. Letting in the energy of pure love is the sole energy responsible for completely changing our lives. It is the energy that you will unlock through your ritualistic tending. Emotions are pure energy in motion. They let us know what is or is not working, help us to process life in all its complexities, guide us home to our hearts, and help us grow and evolve. They are not static and cannot be contained in a box, labeled or stuffed away in hopes that they will disappear. Our hearts beat strong for us, carrying us through grief, sorrow, pain, joy, and pleasure without ever needing to be conscious of their sacred rhythms. This is pure divine nature. We can only love as much as we learn to open, grieve, and feel. All emotions, even the most painful, carry powerful lessons, truth, and blessings. This is why the opening of our hearts is an essential part of our ritual work. When we are closed off from the flow of our hearts, emotional energy gets stuck in our bodies and manifests in various physical ways, keeping us further and further away from our truth and our love. As we collectively begin to lift the gates of repression and let out waves of pain, grief, frustration, shame, and anger, and open to the fullness of love, we must learn how to hold space to let the emotions flow. The more we open our hearts, the more space we create for joy, love, purpose, and the sacred. The more connected to love all around we become. Open your heart and revel in the power that you find. If you are feeling closed off from love, from your emotions, from your spiritual practice, or from receiving, the following is a beautiful, simple ritual to open your heart and connect back to its loving essence. You can use this practice at the start of any ritual that you do to guide you to whatever intention that you need today, to move energy, to create more internal space, or simply to connect to the energy of love for the day. You can do this ritual at your altar, outside in your favorite place in nature. You can do it in bed, in a bath, or simply in a comfy seated position as you are now. So go ahead and close your eyes. I'll give you a moment to get cozy. And you can just begin by connecting to your breath, really deepening your breath. You can continue this for a few moments, just to find presence and connection to your body. Allowing your mind to soften, allowing your body to soften, and your focus to come into the heart. You can begin to notice where in your body you may be holding on to any emotional tension. And this could be tension in your neck and your shoulders. Maybe it's in your hips. Maybe you feel a tenderness in your heart. Maybe it's a tiredness in your heart. And just observing. You can begin to breathe into that space or spaces for a few breaths, sending your breath to that area of your body and allowing your breath to just begin to loosen the energy, loosen the tension that you may be carrying. Now you can bring your attention and your breath to your heart space. Maybe this is where your heart is, the actual organ of your heart. Maybe it's your heart chakra. Just imagine that your heart is filling up with a green light with each inhale. And with each exhale, you can imagine any tension melting like honey and dripping down and back into the earth. So breathing in green light and exhaling all of the tension back into the earth. Now go ahead and place your hands over your heart as you continue with deep breaths. Feeling your heartbeat. And see if you can feel any emotions that are wanting to move from your body. Maybe you're feeling some tenderness, some sadness, some tears that are wanting to move. Maybe you're feeling some like an anxious heart, a little anxiety. Maybe there's frustration or anger, some fire, disappointment, confusion, or maybe you feel gratitude. Maybe there's a smile that wants to arise. Maybe there's excitement. And I just want to invite anyone, if there are tears that are bubbling in the heart space, to just remember that tears cleanse the spirit, and it's one of the most powerful healings that you can receive from yourself. And continuing to breathe, creating more flow in your body. And try not to go into the mind and create a story around whatever emotions are coming up. You don't need to know where any emotion came from or who or what caused it, or feel shame for expressing it and letting it out. Emotions that are stored within the body can be something that we picked up during the week, could be something from decades ago, could even be an energy that you carry through your ancestral lineage. The origin of the emotion doesn't matter in this present moment. All that matters right now is movement. movement of the emotion, letting your inner waters flow in whatever way they need to. If you find that you have trouble expressing your emotions or moving your waters and opening your heart, you can try giving your emotion a sound. You can imagine if this emotion were a sound, what would it sound like? And using that sound, making that sound as a way to move the emotion out of the body, to express it through your voice. And another way is to use movement to express it through your body. So just take a few moments here to continue to breathe and let any emotions arise, let your waters flow. So we just spent some time opening the heart. Now to uplift and protect your heart, you can imagine a golden orb of light surrounding you. And visualize this light slowly moving through your body, coming down maybe from into the top of your head, down your neck and your shoulders, glowing out to your hands, your torso, into your hips, your thighs, ankles, feet. And imagine it concentrating really in your heart. The heart is the source point. This is where it's glowing outward from. And this golden light is protective. The energy of your heart is the most sacred protection that you can cultivate. And it's just within you. It's also cleansing your energy. When you tap into the expansive energy of your heart, you are clearing away any fear or doubt or insecurities because they don't match the vibration of love. It is our love that forms new patterns, new awarenesses, and new ways of being. With each powerful opening, connection to love, and emotional release, our heart opens a little wider to the spiritual love that is available all around us. With love, all is possible. And taking your time to come out, maybe you want to give yourself a hug. Maybe you want to give yourself a little self-massage in the spaces of your body that are holding tension. And just taking a moment here, taking a sip of water or tea. You can take a few moments to journal out any discoveries, any visions, feelings, insights. If anyone wants to share their experience, you can type it in the chat box. No pressure. And just take your time coming back. We'll start the Q&A shortly. It's a good time to think about any questions you have for me or about the book. I am happy and open to answer anything.
So feel free to unmute yourself if you want to ask in live, or you're more than welcome to use the chat box as well, and I'll ask for you.
Welcome to Insights at the Edge, produced by Sounds True.
I have a
My name is Simon. I'm the founder of
something to tell. I don't really have a input from the meditation, but I wanted to tell you that I listened to your interview with was it Tammy from Sounds True? Podcast interview, and I'd encourage everyone to listen to that because it was amazing. I bought the book right away. I got it last night, and so I haven't really had a chance to look at it. So when I saw you come across my screen this morning, I thought, oh, I wanted to meet you. So it was really, really wonderful because I'm taking another class right now, and he talks a lot about ritual and intention, and so it's just synchronistically good for me to learn more about it.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for supporting and listening. And I'm so excited for you to dive into the book.
Me too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Ash.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. It's so nice to see you.
See you.
Oh my gosh. I don't really have a question. I feel like I'm reading the book kind of slowly.
Yeah.
Kind of like in the way I do most things, but I'm just so happy. And I feel like in the meditation, I just felt like so overwhelmingly grateful, but also I feel like it's so powerful to have this expression. And I know you know, but the way that you give a voice to it for me is just like, it's the most courageous thing, and you do it so softly, and it's so inspiring to me.
Thank you so much. I love you. I'm so grateful for you. All of your support and love means so much to me.
Oh, well, I'm so happy. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. I don't have the book, and I just got your email about this event today, so I'm thankful for that. So thank you. I wondered if you talked about anything with ancestors in your book, and rituals of our ancestors, and how to connect when you don't have the knowledge, because all of the knowledge keepers, they're gone. You know, they're deceased. Yeah. So I appreciate it if you want to elaborate on that. And thank you again for this beautiful event. Thank you. And I'm going to look into reading the book and all of that. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here and thank you for this question. I feel this is one that's coming up a lot right now and also so important. We need to bring the wisdom back of our lineages. There is a chapter on ancestors in the book. So it's towards the end of the book. The book is split up into sections. There's like an introductory section and then tending to the earth, tending to the self, and tending to the sacred. So the ancestors is in the sacred section. It's very common for us to be very disconnected from our ancestral lineages, especially the power and the wisdom. No matter, where in the world your ancestors come from, they have a really strong spiritual lineage. And I think that's something that we're seeking so much because we're so disconnected in our current culture. I think the most beautiful way to begin is just very simply, and I talked about this in the podcast episode with Tammy Simon, to create an ancestor altar and just to begin to kind of anchor that intention of, okay, I have ancestors and I want to connect to them. And if you don't know your ancestors' names or you don't know where exactly they come from, just start where you can. You can start with maybe if you know like the name of a grandparent that's deceased, or if you have someone in your family that you can ask questions to. And one of the most simple, practical ways to really feed our ancestors and feed that connection to our lineage is really simply by working with plants that come from our ancestral lands. So maybe there's like a tea that your ancestors drank, or a plant that they worked with. Maybe there's like a traditional food that they ate that you can begin to eat more. And maybe when you make that food for yourself, you set a plate for your ancestors at your ancestor altar. Maybe there's songs that come from that land, or maybe there's a type of dress, that they wore, how they adorned themselves. And you'll notice just by opening up in these really small, practical ways that this actually creates like a portal and a floodgate of ancestral wisdom that comes through. I also think a really powerful way to connect to the spirit of our ancestors, especially when we don't really know our ancestors, is through dream work. Dreams, this is another chapter in the sacred, tending to the sacred section in the book, but dreams are really an infinite space to connect to infinite memory, to connect to spirit. And there's different practices that I share in the book, but something so simple, something I do personally when I'm wanting to connect to my ancestors for guidance, I will light a plant that connects me to my ancestral land, sacred smoke around my room. Sometimes I'll put the plant even like under my pillow and then set the intention. Maybe it's like, okay, maybe it's like a certain lineage of ancestors. Maybe it's like my mother line. I really want to connect to, this specific ancestral line to learn more about this or to receive guidance on this specific thing, and setting that intention and then keeping a glass of water next to the bed. Water is a really receptive conduit for energy. And then a journal so that when you wake up, you can record. And then just being really receptive, having a really nice deep sleep. Maybe you really set yourself up for sleep that night, no stimulants before bed, like no screens before bed. Maybe you drink like a really calming tea, like a chamomile tea or something, and just allowing yourself to go into deep rest. And I think that that's such a powerful way to connect. Yeah. You're welcome.
I did come up with a question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do is what I call shadow work. Dialogue with archetypes that are living in my psyche, and find it's kind of a self-love work, and it moves a lot of energy to do that. And I was wondering if you could suggest a way to make a ritual out of that. And I write in a journal, and sometimes I just write what happened in the day and how it affected me and how I thought about it. Or sometimes I actually dialogue with characters that are inside and find out why they're there and why they're hanging out and why they're managing my life at the moment. So do you have an idea about that?
Yes, and there's actually a chapter on shadow in the book.
Oh, okay.
It's in the Tending to the Self section. And I do share a shadow ritual. It's more of a meditation ritual, but it's to go and really meet your shadow, coming face to face with your shadow and asking them what they need to bring them to the light. What fear are they hanging on to that is affecting you? There's also some journaling questions right after that or right before it. And that's in that chapter. I think, yes, shadow work is so important. It's really, we can't self-create. We can't really expect our ritual practice to, show us results if we're not tending to those shadows and looking at those shadows as well. So that's really beautiful that you have that practice.
So I'm thinking that a ritual might help me to get through some of the resistance that I have to facing it. Yes. So then I would include the 4 pillars in that ritual.
Yes. So the 4 pillars are the foundation of any ritual that you're going to do. And, you can do any of the rituals from the book. You can do the exact shadow ritual that I share, but I really would love everyone to create their own rituals. Mm-hmm. But as long as you have those 4 pillars, you can create any ritual. You can create anything. Like those are the 4 pillars of ritual, but they're also the 4 pillars of creation, the 4 pillars of healing. It's all the same thing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Hi. I'll like to ask about the music, the audio that you finished the meditation with, because as you were saying, choose have a sound come that would represent that, and it was a cacophony was what came to me, and then you played a cacophony, but it had a softer edge than what was my head. What was so? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's just this chime. It's one of my favorite tools. I think it just has the most beautiful sound. You can get them online. They're not very expensive. I have a few of them and they sound really nice together. They're all connected to different elements. So this one is called the fire one. To me, it doesn't sound like very fiery, but I was connected to the sound of this one in particular. But the brand is called Koshi. It's Koshi is the brand.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other thoughts, questions? Had a moment to let that meditation marinate if there's anything else you wanted to chat with Ashley about. Was there anything you wanted to end on, Ashley?
Let's see. Not in particular. I am really grateful for you all for being here this evening and sharing this. This is my first book virtual launch event that I'll be doing. So this is a really special one. Yeah, and I'm really grateful for you all for being here. And I hope that tending to the sacred inspires creation in you all and inspires encouragement and hope to create healing for yourself and to know that you are all that you need. You don't need a healer. You don't need any fancy tools or fancy healing modalities. You are enough. You have everything that you need. Those 4 pillars of ritual, they come from within you. And yeah, I hope the book inspires you to create rituals that feel really fulfilling and feel really empowering to you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. This was such a lovely, peaceful way to end a day. Thank you to all of you for joining us again. I'm Elena with Napa Bookmind. If you haven't picked up a copy of Ashley's beautiful book, we do have a bunch in the store. You can come in and join us in person, or we ship. We're happy to do that, napabookmind.com. And I just wish you all a wonderful, peaceful, lovely evening. Thank you to Ashley. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much. Everyone have a beautiful, beautiful evening.
Thank you.
Bye.